Wisdom, wisdom, that's the test. Which rival wisdom team is best? 52 teams of 8 antique rival wisdoms compete to do the future a favor and guide a life at stop2think.com. Team quote 46.1. The thought is a deed. Of all deeds she fertilizes the world most. Emile Zola 1840–1902. Zola's statement captures a fundamental truth about the relationship between thought and action. By declaring, the thought is a deed, he elevates thinking from a passive mental activity to an active force, suggesting that the very act of thinking is itself a form of doing, of taking action in the world. The second part, of all deeds she fertilizes the world most, is particularly powerful. It suggests that thoughts, like seeds planted in fertile soil, have an unmatched capacity to generate change and growth. A single powerful idea can inspire countless physical actions, spark movements and revolutions, lead to scientific discoveries, birth new philosophies and ways of seeing the world, transform societies and cultures. This was something Zola demonstrated through his own work. As a writer and intellectual, his thoughts, expressed through his novels and political writings, helped expose social injustices and catalyze real change in French society. His involvement in the Dreyfus Affair, where his famous Jacques letter helped overturn a wrongful conviction, showed how powerful thoughts, when expressed, could literally change the course of history. The metaphor of fertilization is particularly apt. Thoughts don't just create isolated actions, they nourish the soil of human consciousness, allowing new ideas to take root and grow, creating an ever-expanding web of influence that can span generations. Team quote 46.2. I am prepared for the worst, but hope for the best. Benjamin Disraeli 1804–1881. This quote by Benjamin Disraeli, who served twice as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, captures a pragmatic philosophy of life that balances caution with optimism. The first part, I am prepared for the worst, reflects the wisdom of being realistic and having contingency plans for difficult scenarios. It speaks to the importance of foresight and prudent preparation, rather than naive wishful thinking. Yet the second part, but hope for the best, maintains a sense of optimism and positive expectation that prevents preparedness from descending into pessimism or paralysis. By pairing preparation with hope, Disraeli suggests that we can acknowledge potential difficulties while still maintaining faith in positive outcomes. This balanced approach was characteristic of Disraeli's political career, during which he had to navigate many complex challenges while implementing his vision for social reform in Victorian Britain. The quote continues to resonate as practical wisdom for facing uncertainty in any era. Team quote 46.3. Republics end through luxury, monarchies through poverty. Charles deSecondat 1689–1755. This insightful observation comes from Charles deSecondat, better known as Montesquieu, one of the most influential political philosophers of the Enlightenment. The quote presents a fascinating paradox about how different forms of government can fail through opposite economic conditions. Republics end through luxury suggests that when republican societies become too wealthy and comfortable, they can lose the civic virtue, public engagement, and sense of shared sacrifice that democracies require to function. Citizens may become more focused on private pleasures than public duties, leading to political decay. Monarchies through poverty indicates that monarchical systems fail when they can no longer maintain the wealth and prosperity needed to support their hierarchical structure and keep their populations content. When a monarchy impoverishes its people too far, it risks rebellion and collapse. This observation is particularly interesting coming from Montesquieu, who wrote extensively about different forms of government in his masterwork, The Spirit of the Laws. He understood that each system of government had its own principles of operation and its own characteristic ways of failing. The quote remains relevant today as a warning about how economic conditions, whether excess or scarcity, can undermine different political systems in distinct ways. Team quote 46.4. A friend is one who knows you and loves you just the same. Elbert Hubbard, 1856 to 1915. This is a beautifully simple yet profound definition of friendship by Elbert Hubbard, an American writer and philosopher. The quote captures two essential elements of true friendship. First, one who knows you. This suggests deep understanding, not just surface familiarity. A true friend sees us as we really are, with all our flaws, quirks, and complexities. They know our history, our struggles, our dreams, and our fears. Second, loves you just the same. This is the transformative part. Despite knowing everything about us, or perhaps because of it, they continue to love us. The just the same implies unconditional acceptance. Our imperfections don't diminish their affection. They are part of what makes us who we are. Hubbard, known for his incisive wit and wisdom, distills here what separates true friendship from mere acquaintance: the combination of deep knowledge and unwavering acceptance. It's worth noting that this definition eliminates the possibility of fair-weather friends, or those who only love an idealized version of us. True friendship requires both insight and steadfast affection. Team quote 46.5. Seek not greatness, but seek truth, and you will find both. Horace Mann, 1796 to 1859. This quote from Horace Mann, the American education reformer, expresses a profound idea about the relationship between truth and achievement. Let me break it down. The quote suggests that pursuing truth as your primary goal, rather than directly chasing status or greatness, will naturally lead to both truth and greatness. There are several layers to this wisdom. 1. The paradoxical nature of seeking greatness directly. When people focus solely on achieving greatness or recognition, they may compromise their integrity or miss deeper understanding in their pursuit of outward success. 2. The inherent value of truth. Mann suggests that truth-seeking is intrinsically worthwhile and should be our primary focus. This aligns with his life's work in education reform, where he championed the idea that education should focus on developing understanding, rather than just achieving credentials. 3. The interconnection between truth and greatness. The quote implies that true greatness emerges organically from a commitment to truth and authenticity. By seeking truth, one develops qualities like intellectual honesty, persistence, and wisdom that often lead to meaningful achievements. This philosophy was central to Mann's broader educational vision, where he advocated for universal public education, focused on developing both character and intellect. The quote reflects his belief that education should prioritize genuine understanding over mere achievement or social status. Team quote 46.6. Don't talk about what you have done, or what you are going to do. Thomas Jefferson, 1743 to 1826. This concise quote from Jefferson embodies a powerful principle about actions versus words. Let me analyze its meaning. At its core, this quote advocates for letting your actions speak for themselves, rather than broadcasting them. There are several key insights here. The warning against talking about past accomplishments suggests that boasting or dwelling on previous achievements can be a form of vanity and self-importance. True merit doesn't need constant verbal reminder. The caution against announcing future plans points to the wisdom that premature talk can dissipate the energy better used for actual doing. Create expectations that may not be met. Give others the opportunity to obstruct your plans. Substitute the satisfaction of talking for the discipline of action. Interestingly, this principle parallels ideas found in various wisdom traditions that emphasize quiet competence over showmanship. It's particularly relevant today in our social media age, where there's often pressure to constantly narrate our past, present, and future activities. Team quote 46.7. Hope is a good breakfast, but it is a bad supper. Francis Bacon, 1561, 1626. This quote from Francis Bacon, the English philosopher and statesman, uses a clever metaphor comparing hope to meals of the day. Let me unpack its meaning. The quote suggests that hope is valuable at the beginning of an endeavor, breakfast, but unsatisfying or insufficient at its end, supper. Here's the deeper wisdom. Starting the day/venture with hope. Hope provides initial motivation and energy. It helps us envision possibilities. It gives us courage to begin difficult tasks. Like breakfast, it fuels us for action. But relying on hope at the end, simply hoping without having taken action is inadequate. By day's end or project's end, we need tangible results. Like trying to be satisfied with an empty stomach at night, hope alone cannot substitute for actual achievement. The metaphor is particularly effective because everyone understands the difference between the energy of morning and the need for sustenance at night. It warns against the danger of letting hope substitute for action and achievement. Team quote 46.8. Happiness is a thing to be practiced like the violin. John Lubbock 1834–1913. This quote from John Lubbock presents a profound insight about the nature of happiness by comparing it to learning a musical instrument. Let me explore its meaning. The violin metaphor is particularly apt because it captures several essential truths about happiness. Just as mastering the violin requires regular, deliberate practice, patience through imperfect attempts, acceptance that progress is gradual, development of proper techniques, long-term commitment. Similarly, happiness requires conscious cultivation of positive habits, patience with oneself during difficult times, recognition that it's a skill that develops over time, learning and applying specific emotional skills, sustained effort rather than expecting instant results. This perspective was quite progressive for Lubbock's Victorian era, when happiness was often viewed more as a result of fortune or divine favor, rather than something within one's power to cultivate. It aligns with modern psychological research, showing that many happiness-promoting behaviors can indeed be learned and strengthened through practice. And to help raise school test scores and confidence with free easy extra advantage math, spelling and reading workbooks you can download for free at stop2think.com or buy at educationstopshate.com. Free easy math wisdom workbooks with octa repetition to grow math self-confidence. You'll get plenty of repetitive practice of age ranges and averages of our 52 teams of 8 quote authors. Free easy alpha cipher-coded puzzles teach letters, numbers, and phrases using antique wisdoms that encourage and educate. Can you decode this cipher quote of encouragement using either our learning to spell or just for fun instructions? And since time is money, practice reading faster with 52 teams of antique rival wisdoms. We offer printed versions and timed videos with background music. Sign up for free weekly emails of 52 teams of antique rival wisdom workbooks with easy math, spelling, and reading practice. And if you'd like to get paid for sharing our wearable wisdoms, keep this in mind. Everyone I know wears a shirt, and most of us change them daily, so change your shirt and change the world. Social equalities are blatantly subliminal antique positive wisdoms repetitively shared without saying a word. This applies to all our wearable shareable wisdoms, like Pretty Witty Baby Onesies and Pretty Witty Kids. Youthful truths let your kids gain confidence, sharing antique wisdoms with their friends. Imagine them sharing words of wisdom with classmates and teachers. I think, therefore I think tees I wear is a super easy way to share words of wisdom. With wearable wisdoms to fit babies, kids, and adults, you can clothe a whole family, city, or state. So do the future a favor by encouraging, educating, and entertaining with words of wisdom. Make us all wiser and kinder. And for a downloadable PDF of these team quotes, join the 52 of 8 today.